There are these two chapters just tucked away in this enormous Russian novel from the 19th century that, well, they basically set off a philosophical earthquake.
An earthquake is right, a theological one too.
And they're still shaking things up today. We're talking about Book V of Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov.
Specifically the chapters Rebellion and, of course, the Grand Inquisitor.
It's more than just brilliant writing, isn't it? It feels like something that gets under your skin.
Oh, absolutely. Thinkers have been wrestling with it for, almost 150 years. Albert Camus called the character who delivers this critique, Ivan Karamazov, the eternal contemporary.
And Freud was obsessed with it. He saw the whole psychological struggle of humanity in these pages.
He did. And maybe the most telling one, Friedrich Nietzsche, the God is dead guy. He read this and saw his own diagnosis of Western nihilism laid out with just shocking clarity before he even wrote it himself.
That's incredible. So our mission today is to really get into these two chapters. We're going to unpack this. This profound challenge to the idea of theodicy.
Right, that age-old attempt to justify a good God in a world full of evil and suffering. And the craziest part is that Dostoevsky, a devout believer, wrote this. He intended to answer it, but he made Ivan's case so powerful that logically it feels, unanswerable.
Okay, let's dig into that, because the power here isn't just simple atheism. Ivan's problem isn't whether God exists.
No, not at all.
It's whether God's world is morally acceptable. He forces you, the listener, to face this moral break that logic just can't seem to fix.
The setting for this is just perfect. Ivan, the intellectual, the nihilist, is sitting with his younger brother, Alyosha.
The pure-hearted novice monk.
Exactly. And they're in a grimy tavern. Ivan starts off by admitting something strange. He says he loves life irrationally. He calls it the Karamazov force.
The sticky spring leaves, the blue sky. He wants to live even if he thinks it's all meaningless.
But then he pivots. He says, look, I reject the world, but not because of generous suffering. He says, maybe adults who've eaten the apple, who've sinned, maybe they deserve it on some level.
But children don't.
But children don't. That distinction is the entire foundation of his argument. They are innocent, yet they suffer the most unbelievable cruelty.
And he doesn't just theorize. He brings receipts, essentially.
He does. He insists his stories are real, things Dostoevsky himself pulled from newspapers and court records. This isn't a philosophical game, it's investigative journalism.
And the first example he gives, the story of the Russian general.
Yeah.
It's just sickening.
It's the sheer casual barbarity of it. This wealthy general has his hunting dogs tear a little 8-year-old surf boy to pieces.
Right in front of the boy's mother.
In front of his mother. And why? Because the boy threw a stone and accidentally hurt the paw of the general's favorite hound.
It's impossible to process that kind of evil. And he doesn't stop there.
No. He talks about the parents who lock their 5-year-old daughter in a freezing outhouse all night for soiling herself.
The Turkish soldier who catches a baby on his bayonet. Ivan's point is that humans do this for an artistic pleasure. It's not just base cruelty, it's refined.
And if God's world allows for that kind of engineered cruelty against the innocent, then the whole system is morally bankrupt.
Which brings him to his ultimatum, the question he puts to Alyosha, and really to all of us. He says, imagine you're the architect of the universe. And to create a future of perfect, eternal happiness for all mankind, you have to torture just one innocent child to death. Just one.
Yeah.
Would you consent to be that architect?
And Alyosha, horrified, whispers, no.
That one word, for Ivan, that's checkmate.
It is. He's won. Because if a moral human can't accept that price, how can we worship a God whose universe is built on millions of such tears?
So Ivan insists on what he calls his Euclidean justice.
Simple, straight-line, earthly logic. He says he can't understand the non-Euclidean mind that sees some higher harmony in all this, so he makes his famous declaration.
I hasten to return my ticket. He's opting out. He rejects the price of admission to existence.
That's the key. He's not rejecting the creator, he's rejecting the creation. He's choosing his own moral integrity over a divine plan he finds monstrous.
And just when you think he's done, he twists the knife. He moves from the problem of suffering to maybe an even darker problem, the burden of freedom.
And this is where he tells Alyosha about his prose legend, the Grand Inquisitor.
The setup is amazing. It's 16th century Seville, Spain, the height of the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Heretics were just burned at the stake the day before.
And suddenly, Christ returns to earth, silently. He performs a small miracle, raises a child from the dead, and the people instantly know who he is.
But then this 90-year-old man, the Grand Inquisitor, sees all this. And he orders his guards to arrest Christ.
He recognizes him immediately and has him thrown in a dungeon. And what follows is this incredible monologue where Christ says nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That silence is everything, isn't it? It lets the Inquisitor lay out this devastating accusation.
And his central claim is just shocking. He tells Christ that by giving humanity freedom, he condemned them to misery.
So the Inquisitor sees himself as a humanitarian, not a tyrant. He's fixing Christ's mistake.
He genuinely believes it.
Yeah.
He argues that humanity is weak, pathetic, and can't handle the anxiety of free choice. So the church, he says, has spent 1,500 years correcting that error.
By taking freedom away.
By taking it away and giving them happiness and security instead. He bases his whole argument on the 3 temptations Christ rejected in the desert.
Arguing that the wise spirit, Satan, was actually offering the better deal.
The more practical deal, the first temptation, turn stones into bread, Christ refused. But the Inquisitor says humanity will always trade their freedom for bread. Give them food and they will follow you anywhere. The church did that.
That feels uncomfortably modern.
Right.
Trading real freedom for economic security.
It's the central political question, isn't it? Then comes the second temptation. Miracle. Christ refused to perform a flashy miracle to compel belief.
Faith have to be free.
But the Inquisitor says people crave miracle, mystery, and authority. They need to surrender their conscience to someone to escape the agony of doubt. The church provides that certainty.
And the third temptation is power.
Authority.
Right. Christ rejected the kingdoms of the world, Caesar's sword. The Inquisitor says the church picked up that sword because humanity needs to be ruled. They crave a universal state.
And this all leads to the Inquisitor's terrible secret.
This is the final reveal. He confesses that the church is not working with Christ anymore. He says, we are not with thee, we are with him.
With Satan.
With the wise spirit of the desert, they've accepted his gifts, bread, miracle, authority, to create a happy, stable, unfree world for the feeble, unruly herd. And he claims he's doing it out of love for their weakness.
It's an intellectual trap. Logically, the Inquisitor system works better. It creates peace. If you choose freedom, you get suffering. If you choose happiness, you get submission.
So after this perfect, logical takedown of Christ's entire moral system, how does Christ respond? He doesn't. He doesn't say a word. He just gets up, walks over to the old man, and he kisses him.
A soft kiss on his bloodless, aged lips.
That kiss. That's Dostoevsky's genius, isn't it? It's the non-Euclidean answer.
It is. You can't beat a logical argument with another logical argument. The kiss is something else entirely. It's a wordless act of love and forgiveness that just bypasses the Inquisitor's whole rational fortress.
And it gets to him. The Inquisitor shudders. It says the kiss glows in his heart. But he doesn't change his mind.
He can't. He's too committed. He opens the cell door and tells Christ, go and never come again. He's accepted the burden of his lie.
But then the story snaps back to the tavern. And Alyosha, who has been listening to his brother's spiritual torment, he does something amazing.
He performs what's been called literary theft.
He leans across the table and does the exact same thing. He kisses Ivan on the lips.
It's Dostoevsky bringing the answer from the abstract legend into the messy, real world. Alyosha has no logical comeback for Ivan's arguments.
None at all.
But he can respond with this concrete act of love. He's showing Ivan that love isn't a theory. It's a commitment to the person who is suffering right in front of you.
And that idea, active love, is Dostoevsky's real answer to Ivan, isn't it? It's embodied by Elder Zosima, Alyosha's mentor.
Absolutely. Zosima's teaching is that love isn't a feeling. It's labor and fortitude. It's hard work.
Zosima also have that radical idea that turns Ivan's argument for justice on its head. Each of us is guilty in everything before everyone.
A huge moral shift. If we're all responsible, then Ivan's demand for a cosmic scapegoat, for someone to blame, it just collapses. The goal becomes reconciliation, not retribution.
But Dostoevsky knew he couldn't just give us a nice, tidy answer. He had to make sure faith remained a choice, a free choice.
Which brings us to one of the most brilliant moves in the novel, the scandal of the Stench.
Right. When the holy Elder Zosima dies, everyone expects a miracle. His body should be incorrupt, right? A sign of his sainthood.
But the opposite happens. His body starts to decay, and it stinks. The odor of corruption. It's a massive scandal.
It shatters Alyosha's faith for a time, because he, like everyone else, wanted proof. He wanted a miracle to make faith easy.
And Dostoevsky deliberately denies it. He demolishes the Inquisitor's argument that people need miracles. He forces Alyosha and you, the reader, back into a state of doubt. Faith has to be chosen freely, in the dark, without proof. It has to be lived through active love.
So Zosima's answer is a moral one, an existential one, but it's not a logical refutation of Ivan's case.
No, which is why Ivan's argument remains intellectually unanswerable. Any attempt to logically explain away the suffering of a child just becomes obscene.
And that's why it hit philosophers so hard. Nietzsche saw Ivan's freedom leading straight to nihilism, the idea that everything is permitted. A freedom so absolute it destroys you.
Which it does, to Ivan. And Camus saw Ivan as the ultimate metaphysical rebel rejecting God for the sake of justice. But Camus also saw the danger.
That this rebellion can end up justifying a new tyranny, the Inquisitor system.
Exactly. And the reason we're doing this deep dive is because Ivan's Kolchin is not some 19th century relic. It is alive and well every single time we are asked to trade the difficult, messy burden of freedom for the promise of security or comfort.
The Inquisitor chose guaranteed happiness over freedom. Christ chose freedom, knowing it would mean suffering. Dostoevsky leaves that choice squarely with us.
The novel forces you to sit with the agony of both options. We've seen the philosophical battle fought in Ivan's mind and in that tavern.
And now that spiritual debate has to crash into the real world of action.
Next time, we're moving from Ivan's intellectual crisis to a very real human one. The trial of their brother, Dimitri Karamazov, for murder.
Join us as we explore how these huge philosophical ideas play out in a courtroom, with human justice, law, and a family's fate on the line.
The question remains hanging in the air. Are you willing to carry that fearful burden of freedom, or would you prefer the comfort of bread and authority? We'll see how Dimitri carries his cross next time.